Next up, the Secret Service is really keeping secrets. The Department of Homeland Security Inspector General has directed the Secret Service to stop its internal investigation into what happened to text messages related to January 6th that may have been deleted, according to a letter reviewed by CNN. This isn't us. This is a trusted news source like CNN.
Yeah, they're very trusted. So this is a day after the watchdog agency in question, which is the Department of Homeland Security, IG, or Inspector General, announced that they learned in February that the Secret Service had purged nearly all cell phone texts from around January 6th, but chose not to alert Congress for some reason.
Yeah. I have my suspicions. What do you think it is?
Well, now the DHS's IG is telling Secret Service to stop investigating it because they want to do the investigation, which is pretty interesting. It's interesting that the texts are deleted. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that DHS knew and didn't say shit this whole time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's interesting that now the Secret Service is trying to conduct its own investigation and DHS has told them to stop. All of this is extremely interesting to me.
You work for Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
Why would this be going on, and why would you hide it from DHS?
Well, who knows? There's any number of reasons why Secret Service wouldn't want that traffic out.
Here's my guess. Can I tell you my guess? You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think they knew about it. I think they knew what was going on or what was happening. Maybe their responses were fucking laughter emojis or something like that, and they weren't taking it seriously. Or they just didn't give a shit and they didn't really care about Biden or anybody else, and they were like, well, fuck it, who cares? Or Trump. Either one, you know?
Yeah. As for why, well, I mean, I think the bigger question is why DHS IG didn't immediately bring this up once they knew that the text had been deleted. Because I don't know, when did the January 6th hearings begin? Like March or some shit?
It feels like it's been going on for 10 years.
It's been a while. So my thoughts are, it can mean that the Secret Service knows what's in those texts and they don't want anybody to know. Mm-hmm. That's a possibility.
It was June 10th was the first hearing.
Okay, so it's been about a month and a half. It could be that there's some kind of sensitive national security situation there where they were talking about stuff that they don't want to be, but that kind of stuff goes on all the time. And I can't imagine that they routinely delete like 2 days worth of texts from the public record, which is like not the public record, but from the classified record. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think like just based on how Biden and Obama have been with the executive branch, I think it's something more nefarious than that. If you remember the Obama administration, lame duck Obama administration, weaponized the CIA, NSA, and FBI to target Trump both when he was a candidate and afterwards when he was a duly elected president of the United States and derailed the first, like, fucking maybe the entire presidency, but certainly that first part of it by weaponizing executive branch three-letter agencies against him. So it isn't hard to imagine that the Biden administration is doing something similar, leveraging DHS or FBI or even Secret Service against the opposition party or against the American people to obfuscate some truth that we need to know about them. Like, that's a very real possibility because they've done it very recently. And when I say they, I mean all the fucking unelected bureaucrats that actually run the government. And it's the same people in the Biden administration as it was in the Obama administration.
Okay. What are the chances that we actually get a real answer out of this?
Well, this is a pretty interesting one because now you have two federal agencies pitted against one another, right? So it's DHS and Secret Service pitted against each other, and it's almost like the Large Hadron Collider at CERN where you're colliding particles together to see what will come off of it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you just kind of watch the fight and see what little bits of information leak out. I think we're going to learn more about this.
It would be great if all the texts were actually leaked, and then we could see what it was. Because, hypothetical, let's say that the text came out, and they were... let's say they knew. Let's say they knew what was going on January 6th and they didn't do anything about it and they just didn't care. Then how does this change this entire investigation, this whole fucking bullshit waste of time we're doing with these hearings?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, you got to think that from the left side, they would definitely be inclined to see and publish anything that would make Trump or the Republicans look bad.
Yes.
But I can tell you now that the Republican establishment, and definitely not Trump personally, has the juice to reach into this administration and do weird shit in the executive branch. That's definitely not happening. They couldn't even control the executive branch when they were in power. Like Obama was using it against them when he wasn't even the fucking president anymore. So that's not a possibility so far as I'm concerned.
Because to me, and I'm with you on that, I don't think we'll ever know what was on these text messages ever. Like, it's one of those sham investigations where you're like, yeah, we're going to look into it and it's going to be fine. And then people forget about it, and 18 months later, they come back and they were like, well, it was harmless. It was personal information they were deleting regarding, families or nudes or whatever the fuck it was. But I don't think we'll ever get any real answers on this. But if it is in this time period that they're saying, this certainly links up with January 6th.
Yeah, we haven't heard any more information about are there other blocks of time missing from the records as well? And then maybe, like, if you had that information, you could start to look at world events and things that were happening in D.C. and the White House and the president's travel and stuff like that, and maybe try to pair it up. But right now, all we know is that the information around January 6th is completely gone. We also know that DHS has known about it for 6 months and has done nothing.
6 months.
Yeah.
And how long is this?
They figured this out in February.
Okay.
So 5.5, but.
And how long? When was this investigation launched?
The investigation launched this week, I guess, when DHS finally. I don't actually know how the story broke, Bob. I don't know if you know that or not, but I don't know who leaked it originally, but it seems like DHS was fine to never leak this until somebody found out about it, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it was them that they didn't have a press conference to say, hey, by the way, back in February, we found out that the Secret Service had deleted all these texts. I think it was the subpoena from the January 6th committee.
Right. And then it might have been the New York Times, Bob.
Like the January 6th committee fucking definitely leaked that to the press because on its face, it looks like the Secret Service is trying to cover something up for Trump, right? But that's not how that's going down.
No, because they would have immediately gotten all that and gotten to the bottom of it.
If that were true in the administration right now, where the Biden/Obama old school fucking Democratic Party lackeys are running that situation, there's no way the DHS executive branch member would sit on that information for that long and not report it to Congress. So nobody in Congress knew allegedly about this, right? They at no point you told the fucking ethics committee or the any of the defense committees or anything like that, or even the January 6th committee itself, which by the way was formed a long time before the actual committee hearings began. They were formed like back in March, I think is
right.
So they've had plenty of time to talk about this, and they've kept it quiet until the committee found it out on their own. I don't know why.
Yeah,
very bizarre.
Really bizarre.
The January 6th committee was formed about a year ago.
Okay.
July 1st, 2021.
Okay, gotcha. So roughly.
So maybe they just set the
4
dates
months
in March.
after?
Yeah.
Something happened in March.
Okay.
Dan, how often did you have, and maybe you didn't do this in the DHS, how often did you have pre-scheduled resets of your phones?
Never, right? But what I did was we were doing actual, not like operations stuff like the Secret Service does. They do a lot of intelligence, but all I did was intelligence work, and you don't keep anything sensitive on a phone, ever.
So you delete it immediately?
We don't put anything on the phone in the first place.
Oh, got it.
Right.
Okay.
So if it's sensitive, if it's like a B10 case or something like that, you don't put any of that shit on a phone.
Got it.
You like on a computer on a secured device, but a lot of the stuff is they still use Palantir, like what's his name, Peter Thiel's software, Falconware and shit like that to manage all their stuff, and all the actual data is kept in a cloud, secure cloud. So
Got it.
it doesn't really apply like that.